discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
In Heartland, you're going to find a focus on distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original artwork, along with tasteful home decor that can fit almost any budget. In Pewaukee, the focus is on kitchen, outdoor, and garden decor, and all of it is priced at 25 to 40% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value.
Design Exchange.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Breaking news as it happens. Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source in news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 11 o'clock. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Thursday, February 6th. Your top story, an Amber Alert reaches day 4.
I'm Adam Roberts in for Jessica Ty. A deadline looming to take a buyout.
Wind advisory in effect for Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, Washington, Ozaukee, and Dodge counties until 9 o'clock this evening. Very windy today, gusts up to 40 miles an hour. High of 38, decreasing clouds. Tonight, breezy, mostly clear, low of 13. Friday, partly to mostly cloudy, at a high of 28. 31 degrees and mostly cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:01. From the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom, an Amber Alert continues for a missing 16-year-old believed to be with a 40-year-old father of her unborn child. Sophia Franklin and Gary Day are believed to be headed to Arkansas. A criminal complaint against Day notes Franklin has been to Arkansas before to stay with Day. Lonoke County, Arkansas Sheriff John Daly tells WISC-TV Day has a prior history of enticing girls online.
He was on probation, felony probation for a domestic-related issue. I don't know what he pled out to, but he's on probation for it. But Gary Day is not a good dude. He targets young females, uses the internet. As you see, he's traveled to Wisconsin and back once.
Day faces a maximum of 25 years in prison if convicted on multiple charges.
Icy conditions overnight, leaving 2 sheriff's deputies injured in Racine County. Freezing rain turning to ice Wednesday evening, causing over 20 accidents on I-94 alone. One deputy injured pulling a sergeant over the center wall as a van spun out of control. Another sergeant was injured as his knee slipped and fell onto the icy road. One driver was also injured, breaking his leg after his car crashed into the rear of a squad car. In total, 4 police vehicles were damaged, and I-94 was shut down for multiple hours due to the icy conditions overnight.
Well, the public has a chance to meet 3 candidates for MPS superintendent today.
Finalists are Brenda Caselius, former superintendent for Boston Public Schools, Joshua Starr, former superintendent for Montgomery County Public Schools in Maryland, and Andre Townsell, current superintendent for Calvert County Public Schools in Maryland. They'll each speak at 2 forums today at MPS's central office on Vliet Street. An afternoon session runs from 1 to 3:45, and an evening session runs from 5:30 to 8:15. An education consulting firm will moderate questions from the community. The Board of School Directors will also seek community feedback through a QR code survey. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
And the school board plans to name its selection by late February or early March.
Millions of federal employees facing a deadline tonight to decide whether to respond to buyout offers or run the risk of being fired. Now, workers in the Intelligence Committee are getting the same notice as a judge weighs whether to block the offers. ABC's Karen Travers.
At least 40,000 federal employees have already taken that deferred resignation option where they can resign now and continue to get paid until September. That's about 2% of the total federal workforce. The administration have been looking to have that number be about 5 to 10%, so they're well under what they were looking for, but they're also expecting that there could be a burst of people applying and clicking on that email by the end of the deadline for today.
The buyouts do not apply to military personnel, postal service employees, immigration enforcement and security employees, or public service workers.
A Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate files a complaint over an attack ad. The campaign for Susan Crawford accuses Waukesha County Judge Brad Schimmel's campaign of using artificial intelligence to doctor a photo of Crawford. This could be a violation of a new state law that mandates disclosure on AI-manipulated political advertising. The original photo shows Crawford smiling in an official headshot. In the ad, it's manipulated to show her scowling. Schimmel's team has said the photo was edited, but not using AI.
Time now for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow off 130 points this hour, sitting at 44,743, while the NASDAQ is up 18 at 19,710, and the S&P 500 sits 9 points in the green at 6,071. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 11:04.
As an independent tire and service center, our loyalty is to you, not the manufacturer.
It's the tire manufacturer's goal to design a superior tire.
But it's our job to ensure the right tires are properly installed on your vehicle.
A service our family has been independently providing for the past 2 generations. So make no mistake about it, our loyalty is to you.
And the dozens of tire brands we carry, like Goodyear, General, and Pirelli,
or Continental, Kelly, and Dunlop, well, that's for you too.
Because we won't know what type of tire you need until you get here.
So instead, we carry them all.
Because we install them all.
And every tire we install automatically comes with free flat tire repair.
Which means you're 100% covered.
No questions asked.
I guess you could call it family tradition.
Be safe, buckle up, and hey.
Always make sure you've got good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands. Your
due for service.
Richlands Tire and Service. Such a refreshing change. Richlands.
You're right, and I'll agree. It does sound too good to be true, but offering you affordable treatment that alleviates pain, which really does work, that we've seen in most cases insurance paid for in full, is a definite reality. It's pain relief, really. And these are FDA-approved treatments. They're safe and proven to reduce inflammation and alleviate pain. Yeah, you'll have to get a couple of shots, and I know that can scare people. But the needle is extremely small. And after giving shots like this hundreds of thousands of times, you'll see we make it very easy. You're going to feel the relief that our powerful pain relief agents give you. They're pain relief drugs that solve pain problems. And the way I feel is that Rejuvenex should be the first stop for anyone living with pain in shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees. At $65 per joint, per injection, it's probably the most affordable pain relief option available that actually works.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex Google reviews will tell you more.
Traffic is sponsored by the famous Fox & Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill.
Buy one dinner, get one free tonight at the historic Fox & Hounds Supper Club, including steak and lobster. And desserts are buy one, get one free. Tables are open, foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The NFL's league year and free agent period begins the second week in March. Packers running back Josh Jacobs believes the team is just a few key pieces away from being a true contender.
I think we need another DN. I think we need another DB, and then I think we need a wide receiver. Like, I love the guys that we have in the receiving room. They all have potential to be one. Right. But we need a guy that's proven to be one.
Jacob spending time in New Orleans this week for Super Bowl festivities. And the NBA's trade window closes at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The Miami Heat are sending former Marquette standout Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors.
Let's check the roads. Your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We have much better road conditions now than we did just about 12 hours ago when there were several accidents across the system. Right now, good conditions and only one incident. We've got a broken down vehicle on 894 North at National on the right shoulder. Your drive times are looking good and no other major delays.
A wind advisory in effect for Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, Washington, Ozaukee, and Dodge counties until 9 o'clock tonight. Decreasing clouds, very windy, a high of 38 degrees. Breezy, mostly clear tonight at a low of 13. Friday, partly cloudy, high of 28. Saturday, cloudy with snow likely, heaviest totals to the north, a high of 31. Sunday's high, just 23 degrees under mostly sunny skies. It is 28 degrees in Milwaukee at 11:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek, and in for Jessica Ty, it's Adam Roberts.
All right, so there's some snow on the way. We get that. It's February. It's Wisconsin. The two go hand in hand. But also, hand in hand with the month of February, is thoughts of spring training. And Brewers pitchers and catchers report for spring training on February 12th, Adam. That is right around the corner, 1 week-ish from today.
Yeah, we are in that mode where it's like, I'm done with winter. We're about a month and a half removed from Packers football. Let's run the clock forward to baseball. Didn't forget about you, Bucks, but come on. Brewers baseball, spring, gotta love it.
Definitely like to think warm thoughts. So we have for you on our talk and text line, text the word Brewers to 855-616-1620. Text the word Brewers, 855-616-1620. We will send to your mobile device the Brewers spring training radio broadcast schedule. It begins February 22nd. We'll have 14 games on WTMJ, an additional 4 exclusively on 94.5 ESPN. So 18 total games between the later part of February and the bulk of the month of March.
Yeah, this is your baby, Greg. You spend a lot of time going over this schedule leading up to the big announcement reveal.
Yes, so be a peek behind the curtain. I do create the schedule for spring training, so direct all complaints directly to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's 11:10 on WTMJ, tracking some big stories here this morning.
And now it's time for 3 Big Things on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number 1, Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency moves ahead today with a campaign promise to shake up Washington. ABC's Christiane Cordero.
The administration now targeting the CIA and National Security Agency in potential cuts, which critics say could put U.S. national security at risk. Plus Medicare and Medicaid, which serve more than 140 million Americans. Federal workers are being courted into taking a buyout by today's deadline, and some departments are posed to be slashed entirely. Musk's team of young tech engineers gaining access to millions of federal workers' personal information as it considers its options.
Roughly 40,000 federal workers have accepted a buyout severance package. That represents about 2% of the total federal workforce. And the White House has a target here. They're hoping that between 5 and 10% of employees will ultimately take the package.
Number 2, today is a tragic anniversary for the Milwaukee Police Department. 6 years ago today, February 6, 2019, 35-year-old officer Matthew Rittner was part of a group conducting a search warrant near 12th and Dakota on the south side, looking for a suspect wanted for illegal sale of firearms and drugs. While that search warrant was conducted, the suspect, Jordan Fricke, opened fire with an AK-47, shooting through the door and striking Officer Rittner in the chest, who would later die at Frederick Hospital. Then MPD Chief Alfonso Morales spoke at Rittner's funeral.
Matthew will live inside of each and every one of us. You will always be family.
Officer Rittner began his career as a police aide back in 2001, committed 17 years of his life to MPD, and was also a veteran of the United States Marine Corps. Rittner has, since his death, there have been 2 other police officers killed in the line of duty, Mark Sean Lentz in 2019, and of course Officer Peter Jerving in February of 2023. That was 2 years ago tomorrow. Fricke, by the way, would ultimately be sentenced to life in prison without parole.
And finally, the globalization of the NFL continues. The league is making plans to play a game in Australia in 2026. More from Melbourne 9 news reporter Reed Butler.
It's touchdown for Melbourne. The MCG will host the Los Angeles Rams as the NFL makes a historic play to capture the Australian market, choosing Melbourne over Sydney and Perth. In New Orleans, Reed Butler, 9 News.
Yeah, so he's in New Orleans covering the Super Bowl because the Philadelphia Eagles have an offensive lineman who hails from Sydney, Australia. So there's some flavor there in New Orleans for this year's Super Bowl. The Rams are going to be the home team. No opponent has been announced just yet. Date, time, all those details will be revealed at a later date. And according to the collective bargaining agreement, the NFL can schedule up to 8 international games beginning next season. They've already announced games that will be played in Madrid, Berlin, Dublin, as well as Mexico City, Brazil, the UK. Keep an eye on that Ireland game. The Steelers are going to be the home team. They are on the Packers' list of road opponents this year. There is some thought that Packers will end up in Dublin facing the Steelers at some point this season.
So that would be the Packers' second international game. You covered the game they played against the Giants in London a few years ago.
Well, yeah, they're in Brazil to begin last season. Yep. So it'd be their third in, 4 years? So
right.
Quite a streak here. But yes, the globalization of the game continues. Hey, keep hitting up the text line here. Text Brewers to 855-616-1620. We'll send you back the spring training radio broadcast schedule right to your mobile device. It's 11:13 on WTMJ.
Spanning the State with Kristen Bry and Brian Noonan.
Lots of things that should not be in your car right now because it is that cold outside.
If you needed to be reminded to not leave this in your car in the bitter cold, you really need to reevaluate your life choices. It says loved ones. Well, I took Grandma for a ride. Did you bring her in? Oh, son of a... No! She's been out there for 4 hours. She looks like Jack Nicholson at the end of The Shining.
Sometimes the obvious has to be said.
Only on WTMJ.
It's the perfect Valentine's heart.
The kind a schoolboy would draw.
It's the most adorable pendant we've ever created.
Innocent, fun-loving, and sweeter than honey.
Cute, cute, cute.
It's cherry red ceramic that's been through the fire.
We've been making ceramic jewelry for thousands of years.
Seriously?
Google it.
But this ceramic heart has things they didn't know about thousands of years ago.
Like what?
Diamonds. 18 of them.
These created diamonds were made for the one who sparkles like the sun.
I can see her in my mind right now.
It's the perfect Valentine's gift.
And it's only $128 at Kessler's.
Monica, what else do we have?
We have 4 different ways to say I love you.
Each pendant is a different shape covered in diamonds.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
An oval.
A square with rounded corners.
A teardrop.
And a heart.
Your choice, just $148 at Kessler's. For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Feeling like winter inside your house? WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for USA Insulation. Many homes built before 1980 have little to no insulation. Anything you do, better than what you got, but you call USA and now you've got the best. Their foam injection method, 35% more efficient than your standard wall insulation. Most jobs done in as little as a day. Some homeowners qualify for thousands in rebates and discounts. Every USA customer begins saving money day one. USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Greg and Adam with you. It is Wisconsin's Midday News for a Thursday. Happy to be joined in studio, one of my favorite people on the planet, the director of the Lubar Center at Marquette University. No one knows law and order quite like Derek Mosley. Not talking about the TV show, former municipal judge. Welcomes in studio. Derek, thank you for being here.
Hey, it's a pleasure to see you, Greg. Thank you for having me.
So this is a very busy month for you, Black History Month. You have, 26 speeches to give in 28 days?
Yes, 26 speeches in 28 days, which is actually less than last year, because last year was the leap year, so I had 28 speeches in 29 days.
Amazing restraint and cutting back. What is a common theme in your discussions that you have with different groups around the community?
Yeah, I'm trying to make people understand the fact that, we call it Black history, but it's all of our history. It's actually U.S. history told from the point of view of blacks in America, right? And so I want to make sure that people understand that fact. I think people sometimes hear Black history and they think, oh, this doesn't apply to me. But it does. All these stories that I tell, all the posts I put on social media are all U.S. history, but told from the vantage point of the Black person that we're talking about.
It's fascinating. And if you've not followed Derek on social media over the years, your Facebook page every day during the month of February highlights someone from the African-American community that in many cases I've never heard of, and many others have maybe never heard of, but you tell a complete story about the richness of that individual.
Absolutely. I think that's the point. That's why the lectures I give are called Things Your History Teacher Didn't Teach You, Blacks in History, because all those stories I tell have always been around. It's just they've never made it into the books. And so I just try to give you a little piece that piques your interest that maybe you might Google and try to find out more about these people as well.
When you give speeches, Derek, is there an age range that you find these stories resonate most with, whether it's young adults, older adults, somewhere in the middle?
Boy, that's a great question. I have to say older adults, because they haven't been taught anything. So my girls in school, they get a little Black history. When I went to school, I got a really small amount of Black history, but my parents and their friends got no Black history, right? And so they're the group, the older group, when I give these speeches, they're just mesmerized about all the contributions African Americans have brought to this country that they had no idea about.
You learn about the basics, right? Yeah. Civil rights leader, Martin Luther King. People learn about Rosa Parks, and it seems to kind of fall off a little bit after that.
After that, that's about it, right? And social media has been great because it allows me to reach a crowd that I've never been able to reach before. In fact, I did a post 3 or 4 years ago about the 6 888s, the all-black, all-female unit to ever serve in World War II. They did the mail. The Postal Battalion got all the mail to the soldiers. That one post was shared over 100,000 times. which is good. It means people are getting this information. And then that post led to a woman calling me, telling me that her mom is a 688, which led me to reaching out and finding out that she lives in Milwaukee. So there's this battalion of black women who got mailed to soldiers during World War II that no one talked about in history, the 6888s. I got to meet a woman who lives here in Milwaukee. There's only 2 of them left. Out of the 800 women, only 2 are left. One's in Milwaukee.
That is fascinating. I was going to ask you as a follow-up here, any stories that really jump off the page for you, where you truly learned something that you didn't know in exposing a portion, even a small portion of American history?
Yeah. One of the ones that I tell when I give my speech has to do with James Cameron. Cameron. All right, so basically the story goes like this. It's 1930s. It's Marion, Indiana. 3 16-year-old black boys are accused of a crime. They're taken to the jail. A crowd comes to the jail. They wind up lynching 2 of the 3. The third is escapes because he was helped by some people from Marion, Indiana. That picture of the men being lynched is taken. A photograph is taken by Lawrence Beitler. It goes in Life magazine. The whole country sees it. A guy named Abel Maripool in New York writes a poem about it. He calls the poem "Strange Fruit." That poem's put to music, sung by Billie Holiday, right? And it actually wound up being the song that caused her death. But it's a popular song. And that third person who got away was James Cameron, who started the America's Black Holocaust Museum right here in Milwaukee.
You know, Derek, I live in the River West neighborhood, and I have on Booth Street, there's the sign for Joshua Glover and the story of his escape from slavery back in the 1800s. It's one of many signs that I notice. I don't live too far from Bronzeville, which obviously is filled as well. Do you think a city like Milwaukee, with its rich history in African-American culture, should be doing more to highlight those untold stories, especially if they happen on a street corner right here in the city?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think it's just the city of Milwaukee. I think it's the state of Wisconsin. I think in the whole entire state of these historic markers you see all over the state, there's hundreds of them. There might be 7 or 8 dedicated to African-American history, right? And so it's not just the city of Milwaukee, but, Cathedral Square. That's where the whole Joshua Glover thing went down, right there where we have Jazz in the Park. There's a place in Milton, Wisconsin called the Milton House, which is the only verified Underground Railroad stop in the state of Wisconsin. It's in Milton, Wisconsin. At this place called the Milton House. Go please check that place out. Give a shout out to the Milton House. But but those are things that we should be telling. We have a rich, rich history here in the state of Wisconsin. Because of Joshua Glover, we didn't respect the Fugitive Slave Act. If you were a slave and escaped, what Glover did, got to Wisconsin, the law said that your owner could send the marshals to bring you back. They did that. Wisconsin said no. Went to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said no. So we became the official last stop of the Underground Railroad. And if I asked that to anybody on the street right now, they would have no idea. That's why these messages are so important. I
have somebody at the text line saying 6888 is a great movie on Netflix.
Yeah. So Tyler Perry made a movie about the 6888s. Actually flew in Anna Mae Robertson, who's one of the remaining 6888s. Took information from her, and it's a good movie. Please check it out. It's on Netflix. I'm more of like a history guy, so the movie was made by Tyler Perry. So it's kind of like fluffy. It could have been a great Hallmark movie, maybe, but it still tells their story about these really brave women.
You have 3 speeches to give today?
3 today. Yep.
Where are you headed?
Oh my God. They might not want to be disclosed. No, I've got 2 schools and 1 business. So
so that does speak to what Adam suggested before. The range with which your speech is, different people, different groups, right?
Yeah.
Could be adults, business communities, school communities.
Absolutely.
Do you tailor the message in any way?
Yeah. So sometimes some of the things that might be a little too much for younger kids, right? Because this is a part of Black history that's quite painful, and so it might be a little too much for little kids. But generally, it's the same message. Because I feel like, 6-year-old Ruby Bridges had to walk a gauntlet of parents screaming and calling her names because she wanted to integrate the schools, right? She was 6 years old. And so she had to go through that. So sometimes it's good to let that message be heard by everybody. But you're right. I have a couple coming up in senior living homes, which gets the biggest crowds because, like I said, they haven't heard these stories before.
Is there a story of African American triumph you believe maybe doesn't get as much attention, whether here locally or nationwide, that it should?
Yeah. Do you know, do you use GPS?
Certainly do.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Gladys West, she worked for the Navy. She's a hidden figure. No one knows about her. She did the algorithm to locate all the satellites. That was her job. The Navy said, find our satellites above the Earth. So she did this algorithm, found the satellites, but then she realized the satellites could find her. And on that date, she invented GPS. Did you know that before I told you?
Did not.
See, that's the part of the history that we're talking about.
That is fascinating. And all of a sudden, Garmin and Apple and you name it, right?
Yep.
Everybody is using that sort of technology.
Absolutely.
That is really interesting stuff. Switching gears here real quick, we had the owner of Amalinda Restaurant on with
Gregory
us
Leone.
about a week ago.
Yep.
Another James Beard finalist, nominee, or semifinalist. So he is hopeful to win a James Beard Award for Best Chef in the Midwest. Everybody gets nervous when they see you walking into a restaurant.
Oh, stop.
Everybody gets nervous. But they know that Derek was one of those hidden judges walking around the community, popping in like, wait a minute, is he judging us today? Is he not judging us today?
Oh, well, we don't have to worry about here. In Milwaukee, all of our restaurants are always top notch. So as soon as you walk in, they're ready for whoever, no matter who you are, they're ready to serve. Speaking of Chef Leone, he's an amazing, amazing chef. And hopefully this is the year that he pulls it off.
Well, we talked about that a little bit about Judge Derek, former judge. He was on that committee or board. I don't know what it is, but you were one of the James Beard
One of the
people.
judges, yeah.
That's fascinating stuff, man.
Absolutely.
What a cool life you live. Derek Mosley, a very good friend and director of the Lubar Center at Marquette University. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us, and I know you've got a busy month here, no doubt.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for having me on and let me tell these stories.
Yeah, great to talk to you. Derek Mosley here on Wisconsin's Midday News. News is coming up in just a few minutes, and coming up in the 11:30 portion of the program, our weekly wellness check with Dr. Ben Weston. And once we get into the 12 o'clock hour, Joel Brennan, president of the Greater Milwaukee Committee, will join us. He is among the crew that'll be meeting with NPS superintendent finalists. We'll pick his brain on that coming up at about 12:15.
What we've found is that when you have workers who feel valued, you get better results. This is why good people and good culture should matter to anyone looking for an exterior remodeling company they can trust. It's going to be your experience and the end result that gives you peace of mind, because you'll know your work was done by people who care. We realized early on that if we were going to change the reputation of this industry for the better, that finding good workers that you could trust to do great work was going to be the key. We're attracting good people every day because we take care of our people. We want to make sure they feel important because they are. And we're going to make sure you feel important and valued too, with excellent customer service and high quality work. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here. You've been dealing with it forever, right? That ankle pain or the back or knee pain. It was a nuisance at first, and you kind of just put up with it. Now it's nearly debilitating for you, and it's affecting everything you do. It's time to get rid of that. Let's get rid of that pain that's always just kind of been there. You don't even remember how long it's been now. Call QC Kinetics. Groundbreaking treatments for arthritis pain, long-term relief. It is possible. Joint pain doesn't get better with time. So before it's absolutely debilitating, see if you're a candidate for this life-changing regenerative treatment. No painkillers, no surgery, no downtime. QC Kinetics regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation. Patients right here in Southeast Wisconsin. They have a location in Mequon and another in Greenfield. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. And if it's easier on your schedule, they're even open on Saturdays. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. Should I delay my Social Security benefits, or should I start taking them right away? The truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Your decision can impact your income for the rest of your retirement. At Drake & Associates, we help you create a strategy to maximize your benefits so you can make the most of what you've earned. Social Security is just one stop on your retirement-ready roadmap. Take the first step today. Text SS to 414-897-9522 to claim your free retirement toolkit and get a copy of my book, Get Retirement Ready. Don't leave money on the table. Text SS to 414-897-9522.
Drake & Associates is an independent investment advisory firm that offers different investment vehicles. All insurance products are backed by the issuing insurance company. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only.
We've saved our clients over $19 million in real estate commission. I say this because that's a pretty big number. But at Century 21 Benefit Realty, it's really not about being a top volume agency. Over here, it's more about you. And at 1.9% commission and no more than $19,000 commission for the listing side of your sale, no matter what size property you're selling, you will save substantially. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
It's 11:30. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Thursday, February 6th. Your top story, charges filed at a Kenosha double killing.
I'm Adam Roberts. Lead concerns continue at MPS.
Wind advisory in effect till 9 o'clock tonight. Decreasing clouds, windy and a high of 38. Wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour. Breezy and clear tonight with a low of 13. Friday, partly to mostly cloudy and a high of 28. 32 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee.
Deadly wildfires, the utility company Southern California Edison submitted reports on its findings so far on the origins of the Eaton and Hearst fires. SCC says it believes its equipment may be associated with the ignition of the Hearst fire. President Trump now says no troops will be needed for his redevelopment plans in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu agreed. And Netanyahu is meeting with lawmakers on Capitol Hill who are wanting more details. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
Congressional Republicans, including John Thune, saying that in his view, it could shake up the status quo. It could change the Middle East. He was very diplomatic and not fully saying that he was on board with the plan. Speaker Mike Johnson went a little bit further, calling this a quote-unquote bold plan.
Other Middle East leaders are rejecting Trump's Gaza plan. The White House says 40,000 federal employees have accepted the Trump administration's buyout plan. The deadline for some 2 million workers, midnight, to accept the offer or risk being fired. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:31.
Homicide and animal mistreatment charges for a Kenosha stabbing. Justin Tursick is accused of killing Andrew Fancook and his dog this week. Kenosha County Deputy District Attorney Andrew Burgoyne calling it a brutal slaying inside a man's own home.
When he ultimately killed Mr. Fancook, it was 25 knife wounds, is what's in the preliminary autopsy. He also killed his dog, Jake.
Prosecutors say Tursick was upset because the home used to belong to his grandmother. He's being held on a $1.5 million bond due back in court later this month.
An arrest made in connection to a string of recent bank robberies in Milwaukee. Police have a 39-year-old man in custody for 3 successful and 1 attempted robbery committed since last Thursday. They happened at multiple bank locations throughout the city. Authorities still seeking unknown suspects related to 2 other bank robberies at a PNC on Lisbon Avenue and a Wells Fargo on Hampton.
State residents can now file taxes for free in Wisconsin. Wisconsin Department of Revenue Communications Director Jennifer Bacon tells WTMJ about the new program.
And Direct File is a new free program that offers a really safe and secure way for eligible Wisconsin taxpayers to file their federal income tax returns electronically. And Direct File integrates with Wisconsin's platform, which is called WisTax.
Bacon says Direct File and WisTax offer a more direct approach to submitting taxes, reducing the need for services like TurboTax or a tax preparer.
Could online sports betting soon be allowed in Wisconsin? Communications Director and Policy Researcher for the Wisconsin Policy Forum, Mark Sommerhauser, tells WTMJ it could bring in more revenue than traditional casinos.
From a standpoint of access, it's obviously not as widespread of access. And then from the dollars and cents side of things, the states that have really seen massive surges in sports betting activity are the states that have legalized online sports betting.
However, Sommerhauser does add those states also tend to see increases in gambling addiction problems.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 11:33.
Winning in the NFL comes down to the basics, blocking and tackling. In retirement, protection and income are the keys to success. Simply put, if you're nearing or in retirement, you can't afford a stock market crash. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons. Having played on winning teams with the Steelers and Falcons, studying game film was a key to success. Now I'm a best-selling author and star in a new groundbreaking documentary film called The Retirement Deception. It unveils how the Wall Street machine has been deceiving us for decades and proves you don't need to risk your nest egg in the market to have the retirement you deserve. This film shows you exactly how to protect your retirement from stock market drops and produce more income than you thought possible. I want you to watch this film for free. Call today for your free copy of The Retirement Deception. I think you would agree 30 to 40 years of saving for retirement is at least worth a phone call to watch this film and see how you can improve your retirement. Call today to speak with an all-pro retirement specialist to get your free copy of The Retirement Deception. Call 844-763-2837. That's 844-763-2837. MitchLyonsWealth.com. Your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I at least like to think I'm an expert when it comes to football, but I know Excel are truly experts when it comes to the art of deck building. With the finest materials and products combined with their superior craftsmanship, they'll deliver exceptional quality and value on everything from backyard decks to pergolas and outdoor kitchens. If you can dream it, Rob and his family can build it. Family-owned Excel Custom Decks delivers decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com to learn more.
Looking to escape the winter chill? Fox World Travel has you covered. Whether it's an all-inclusive vacation with Apple Vacations, a luxurious Princess Cruise, or a European adventure with Globus and Avalon, we create unforgettable experiences just for you. Enjoy last-minute deals, exclusive offers, and personalized itineraries. From booking to boarding, we handle all the details for a stress-free trip. Ready to get out of the cold? Call 866-GO-FOX-GO and mention code RADIO to start planning your getaway today.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The NFL's league year and free agent period begins the second week in March. Packers running back Josh Jacobs believes the team is just a few key pieces away from being a true contender.
I think we need another DN. I think we need another DB, and then I think we need a wide receiver. Like, I love the guys that we have in the receiving room. They all have potential to be one, but we need a guy that's proven to be one.
Jacobs spending time in New Orleans this week for Super Bowl festivities. NBA's trade window closes at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The Bucks are sending Patrick Baldwin Jr. to the San Antonio Spurs for cash. Baldwin Jr., who starred at Hamilton High School in Sussex, was part of the deal yesterday. That included Chris Middleton being traded to the Washington Wizards for Kyle Kuzma.
Checking the roads now, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Some good news, that earlier broken down vehicle on 894 near National, that's been cleared up. And so looking at the map right now, it's about as good as it has been the last 24 hours. All free and clear. Road conditions much improved, all normal at this time, and no major delays anywhere else. Your drive this late morning is looking pretty good.
Wind advisory in effect until 9 o'clock tonight. High of 39 degrees. Wind gusts upwards of 40 miles an hour. Overnight low of 13. Tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy, high of 28. Snow likely on Saturday. Heaviest amounts will be to the north with a high of 31. 32 degrees, mostly cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:37. Greg Matzek, Adam Roberts with you. Jessica coming back to the office on Monday next week, recapping the Super Bowl. Happy to be joined in the studio by my friend Eric Brown, owner and operator of Siding Unlimited. You've heard me talk about them for a number of years. He is freshly back from Dallas. They didn't send you down there because of all the ice building up and so many confused residents in the Lone Star State, did they?
No, but that's been interesting that everywhere else in the country they've been getting snow and not Wisconsin.
It is kind of crazy. So here we are. I mentioned snow in the forecast on Saturday. It's not been a snow event after event here, but of course the freeze and thaw, the deep freeze back to 50 degrees, this can put a lot of strain on your home. So what do you have to be worried about this time of year?
So typically, your typical winter, we come across a couple different changes in the house or changes around the house or things to be concerned with. One, which about, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we actually had snow, and different areas, anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of snow, depending on where you lived in southeastern Wisconsin. But that's a number that when you get that much snow on a fall that's on your roof, we suggest, or I like saying, that's when pull out the roof rake, get that snow off the roof that's, above the eaves or above the overhang, so about 3 or 4 feet above the gutter. And what that's going to do is that's going to help the sun melt what's around the gutter, keep the gutters free and clear of ice or packed snow, and allow that melting snow to run off and get away from the house. If you don't do it, what ends up happening is that snow, or as the snow melts coming off the roof, it builds up as an ice dam because there's no heat source in your overhangs. The rest of the house, the heat is the conditioned air. The heat rises, goes right straight up into your attic, and that'll help melt the snow. But when it gets to the overhang, there's no heat source below it. That's where the freezing happens. And then over a few days' time, you start building up that ice. Well, that ice is now creating a dam where water can't run off the roof properly, and that water is only going to go one place, and that's back up underneath shingles and into the house. I mean, there's products that we can put on a house to help curb against that, help protect against ice damming. But getting the roof rakes out, clearing that snow is the best preventative maintenance from that actually happening.
Eric, a lot of homes, especially in the city of Milwaukee proper, are very old. Some of them on average 130 years. Especially this time of year, what unique challenges does that present for someone who owns a home that's 100 plus years old?
What's tricky when you get closer to the city is that, I mean, it's just harder. You can't get a rake up that high. A lot of 2-story, 3-story homes, and a lot of them are built really close together, so there's not a lot of movement, not a lot of flexibility. The best thing from that standpoint is to make sure that you have adequate insulation in your attic, adequate ventilation that's going to be still reducing the chance of that snow melting quickly and then freezing when it gets to the eaves. If you still have an issue, you have adequate insulation, you have the ventilation, the roof protection, all the stuff that we can do with roofs and underlayments, and we're still running into issues. We usually see this in with architecture, where there's a lot of the designer thought it was a good idea to put all these different peaks and valleys together, but it doesn't really allow snow and water to run off fast. Then we can put in, or you can have heating cables put in, and that'll keep the snow melted and not allow the ice to build up. So there's different things you can do, but for most of us in southeastern Wisconsin, roof raking is the easiest. You just have to, get out there and do it.
Yeah, I'm usually walking around the house when it's super cold outside, just kind of seeing what happened, what kind of strain it was put on the house. But I'm also on the inside trying to make sure that air doesn't come in. And so I'm looking for condensation. I'm taking my fingernail and scraping it against the window to see if that ice is on the inside or the outside, because that could be a real problem too if any bit of moisture ends up on the inside of those windows.
Well, and on the inside of the windows, when we see moisture, it's not necessarily an issue that the windows are failing as much as it's a science. And you have such cold temperatures. So 2 weeks ago when we saw sub-zero temperatures, some homes you woke up and you saw moisture on the glass. And what's happening is the humidity inside your home. So generally, comfortable humidity level is 35% moisture rate, 35% humidity inside your home in the air. And when the temperatures drop so fast, that humidity is going to collect on the coolest surface of your wall, and that's going to be the condensation. That's when it's going to turn from air to or gas state to a moisture state. Now you have water. It's the coolest surface is going to be on the glass. It's not going to be the insulation and the drywall on your wall. Windows are, we need windows so we can see through them, but they're not as energy efficient as drywall, wall insulation, in the siding, your typical wall. So manufacturers try to maximize the energy efficiency of the windows the best they can. Now, your better windows can still have condensation because it's a science. It's the cold surface and the moisture in the air condensing. But your higher quality windows can have glass that is going to reduce the chance of that happening at warmer temperatures, like 35 degrees outside, 30 degrees outside. We can reduce that, and then now we might see it when it's 10 degrees or something like that. So we can do things to curb against it. It's still a science that we have to live with.
Doors, windows, siding, roofing, really anything to help beautify your home's exterior. I had mentioned that you were in Dallas. I may have to adjust my copy here, because my copy, when we do a Siding Unlimited commercial, is that Siding Unlimited is a 4-time National Certified Contractor of the Year recognized by Pella. But are you telling me now you collected a 5th award from the folks in Pella?
They don't give you too much heads up on these things. You go down there to learn a little bit more about Pella windows. You go to this conference, and then they have their awards. And yes, this year they awarded us the 5-time the National we're National Pella Platinum Premier Certified Contractor of the Year. So it's a lot to say. It's a mouthful, but we've earned it, and we've earned it because of we've got such great customers and people that are willing to work with us when it comes to their windows and doors.
Well, it's a lot to fit on a plaque, but certainly well-deserved. That means great products and great installation teams at Siding Unlimited and a family-run business with Eric and Aaron Brown. We appreciate it, Eric. Thanks for stopping in. Good tips.
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
You bet. It's 11:44, our weekly wellness check with Dr. Ben Weston after this.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Just like most cars and trucks can't run without oil, no person can function without food. That's why, through March 1st, the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee is contributing $1 from every oil change to Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 14 years, Adam has provided more than 2.6 million meals to people in southeast Wisconsin. And now, the need is greater than ever. Find a participating Adam dealer near you at adamm.com.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. You want to know the price of a new roof on your home today? Well, it's easy. Just go to TriCountyContracting.com, click on the Instant Roof Quote button, put in your address and email, click the Show My Roof Price, and there you go. Zero wait time. There's your quote. You shop online for everything else. Who says you can't shop online for a new roof? Tri-County Contracting at WI.com. It's worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com.
Adrian was seriously injured when a careless driver merged into her lane.
Gruber was there for everything that I needed. Any questions that I had, Gruber was there. They made me feel like everything about my situation and my accident was very important to them, and that made me feel good. And I would definitely call Gruber again for that.
Serving Wisconsin for over 35 years, Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
They go above and beyond for their clients.
Time for a weekly wellness check with Dr. Ben Weston, Chief Health Policy Advisor for Milwaukee County, Associate Professor of Emergency Medicine at the Medical College of Wisconsin. So, Dr. Weston, I noticed this yesterday. Adam and I were talking about it, and I want to ask you about BMI. I have long been in the camp that BMI is an absolutely ridiculous way to measure if somebody is overweight or obese. By simply plugging in your height and weight, this magical calculation tells you if you're healthy or not. I've never subscribed to it, and it seems like doctors want to maybe shift this or put it on the back burner and incorporate waist circumference and other things that measure your overall health versus a height-weight calculation.
That's right. I think it is worth putting on the back burner, especially at the individual level. So when we look at populations, sure, BMI can be some sort of average measure of where folks are falling. But when you look at an individual, you can have somebody especially who's overweight, but it's because they work out and they have quite a bit of muscle mass, which weighs more than fat. And so that puts them in that overweight category. Now, if your BMI is on one extreme, certainly that's a problem. If you're on the other extreme, certainly that's a problem. But I would pay a lot more attention to things like you're talking about. What is your percent body fat? How much muscle? How often are you exercising? What does your diet look like? Those sort of things are much more impactful often than your BMI number.
Dr. Ben Weston joining us here at Wisconsin's Midday News on WTMJ. We've spoken a little bit about alcohol and its potential link to cancer. Even mild amounts of alcohol. Alcohol-related falls in older adults is another thing that is worth paying attention to. Falls are a leading cause of injury in older adults, and alcohol can certainly exacerbate the issue.
That's right. So in everybody, alcohol affects our brains by impairing the areas responsible for motor skills and coordination. Anybody who's had a few drinks can attest to that. But in older adults, this can become especially dangerous because the brain becomes more sensitive to those sedative effects of alcohol as we age. It also impairs the brain's ability to send signals to our muscles, which leads to issues like poor balance and postural instability. And this can make it harder for older adults to react quickly or stabilize themselves when they do get off balance. So it really does increase the chances of falls.
What key factors, Dr. Weston, contribute most to those falls among older adults? And follow-up, why is it important to know about those risks?
It's a good question. So there's a few different factors. As people age, their metabolism slows down. So it means alcohol stays in your body longer, which certainly can intensify the effects. Now, additionally, older adults often take more medications. That just comes with the health issues that happen with age. But those medications can interact with alcohol, further increasing that risk. And of course, you're starting at a decreased baseline. As you get older, your balance and strength can become less. Just that happens with age, and so that can compound the effects of alcohol as well.
Switching gears to a topic that's gaining some traction here, microplastics. We're hearing more and more about microplastics. They are everywhere. The food we eat, water we drink. Are there health risks and simple steps you can take to reduce your exposure? And how are these microplastics getting into our body?
Yeah, this is something we're hearing more and more about. So there's a number of ways that microplastics can enter our body, and the amount that enters can be quite surprising. So it's not just everyday things like water bottles and plastic food storage containers, but they're in foods we don't typically associate with plastic, things like chicken, apples, even broccoli. So the way plastic breaks down into these tiny particles means it can travel even through the air. It can be washed into water systems or seep into soil where food is grown. So to give you an idea of the amount, there was this recent study. They looked at the brain of humans, cadaver, so dead humans, and they looked at these samples just back in 2024, and they had significantly higher levels of microplastics, up to 30 times more than other organs like the liver and kidney. So it's a real issue.
Dr. Weston, we hear a lot about health impacts, and I don't think anyone would hear microplastics and think, oh, it's a good thing. What are the potential health risks linked to that accumulation of microplastics within our bodies?
Yeah, so certainly this is still developing science, but it looks like they may disrupt normal cellular function, so the way the cells in our body are working. Now, when we look at the brain, these plastic particles might interact with the immune cells in our brain. This can cause inflammation and can lead to long-term conditions like a higher likelihood of dementia. And while this research is still evolving, experts suggest that the chemicals that are carried by microplastics may also interfere with hormonal systems. So this can lead to reproductive and metabolic issues as well. So we're still learning more and more about this, but certainly it's not moving in a good direction for how microplastics are affecting our body.
You know, I think about all the different plastic containers we have in our house, Dr. Weston, right? There's Tupperware all over the place. Can never find a matching lid. I'm sure that's identifiable with everybody listening at this point. But it's not uncommon to, grab some leftovers, pop it in Tupperware, throw it in the microwave, and you got yourself a meal. Is there a risk associated with that?
Yeah, so like you said, it's almost impossible to avoid microplastics completely, but there are things we can do. So certainly avoiding microwaving and heating food, especially in plastic containers. The heat accelerates the release of those microplastics into your food. So no more heating food in plastics. And then food storage, opt for glass or metal instead of plastic. Avoid those plastic water bottles. Instead, use something reusable, glass or stainless steel. And then minimize single-use plastics, so things like shopping bags, plastic-wrapped produce, all this kind of stuff. They're small steps, but they can make a difference of how much plastic you're having in your food and your environment.
So as I'll switch gears again, Dr. Weston, the opioid epidemic is, of course, ongoing in this country. And now we're hearing reports that the FDA has given approval for a new non-opioid pain medication. What do we know about this?
Yeah, this is pretty cool. So this is a medicine called suzetrigine. I'm sure we'll come up with a catchier name for it, but it was approved as the first new type of pain medication in over 25 years. And what's important about it is not an opioid pain medication. And we really need these alternatives to opioids, especially with all the substance use disorder that we're seeing in our communities. So what this one does is it prevents pain signals from ever even reaching the brain. So it doesn't affect the same receptors of opioids. It doesn't seem to lead to dependence. And its approval is really a big step in pain management, showing that we can effectively treat pain without needing to go toward things that cause dependency and potential addiction.
What's being done in Milwaukee County to combat that opioid overdose, and is it working at this point?
Yeah, it's important to talk about this. So we've taken in Milwaukee County a multifaceted approach to address both the immediate harm from opioid use, but also long-term prevention. These are things like our 19 harm reduction vending machines throughout Milwaukee, with things like free naloxone and fentanyl test strips. We're also the first in the state, one of the first in the nation, to offer medication-assisted treatment, this is buprenorphine, to folks with opioid use disorder. It's much more effective to get people into recovery as opposed to just stopping cold turkey. And that's in our ambulance system now, to give people that right when they interact with the health system. So we're focusing on upstream factors like addiction, housing, healthcare, social support, but also on the front lines with harm reduction. And we are seeing improvements. We saw the first decrease in overall opioid deaths last year or the year before in 2023, and signs are pointing toward another even more significant, we'll see what the final numbers look like, but even more significant decline in 2024, and that's the first in 6 years. So seeing some exciting progress.
Dr. Ben Weston, our weekly wellness check from the Medical College of Wisconsin. We appreciate it, Dr. Weston. We'll check in again next week.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your week.
You do the same. 11:56 on WTMJ. Hey, a reminder, if you want to take us with you and listen at your leisure, it's the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast built by Siding Unlimited. Truly, Siding and a whole lot more. Gina, when she's in, does a great job of getting our segments up on our podcast page. So wherever you get your podcasts, subscribe to the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast and take us with you wherever you go.
The Upswing with Jeff Sherman.
If you don't know what Buc-ee's is all about, you may think, oh, it's just another quick trip. Well, the reality is much, much larger. This is a destination much like what Oak Creek did with IKEA. So think of it that way. A huge brand coming to the state. It's about jobs. It's about economic development. And it's about moving Wisconsin forward.
Weekdays from 10 to 11 on WTMJ. Presented by Horicon Bank. The natural choice for all your banking needs.
The largest industrial trade show in Wisconsin is the PFMA Plant Engineering and Maintenance Expo. Industrial professionals in charge of facility management and maintenance, purchasing, or manufacturing will save time learning about important advances all under one roof.
Skip the show day lines and go to pfmainc.com for fast and free pre-registration. The PFMA Expo. Free with free parking. February 19th and 20th at Washington County Fair Park in West Bend.
Namaste.
Dan, what are you doing?
Shh, you're harshing my mellow. Join me in some breathing exercises to chase away the chaos.
Let's focus on our clients, since we offer an exceptional way to control the chaos.
Inspired Closets can more than double your closet storage space.
And we don't over-design projects, sending you 3 beautiful designs to fit your price point.
Plus, our true lifetime warranty makes it a no-brainer.
Get started today at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets.
A wife and husband team.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
So how would I describe our people? I'd say the people we set out to hire have to be smart, hardworking, and honest. Honesty being paramount of the 3. because honesty breeds integrity. And when you have integrity, you won't let yourself do anything less than your best. And that's who we're looking for. Character counts here, and integrity matters. And that's why it's easy for us to offer the industry's best lifetime workmanship warranty with every roof we sell. A rock-solid warranty like ours guarantees our reputation and assures your satisfaction. At Semper Fi, we do the right thing. We seize the moral high ground, and we hold it. And when you do that, you end up having a business that's going to last for generations. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Hey, there's free pizza today at the amazing Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love the free pizza days. Seriously, it's free. Coaches, managers, business owners, listen up. Check this out. Every Thursday, when you buy one pizza, you get a second pizza free. Buy 2, get 2 free. Buy 10, get 10 free. You get it. Bring in your basketball, wrestling, hockey, gymnastics, volleyball team, or your club organization for free pizza after your practice or game. Your players are going to love that huge game room. It's super affordable team bonding. Bring in pizza today for your loyal employees. Half those pizzas are free. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and Oshkosh near the EAA. It's right off the interstate. Tons of seating, tons of close parking. Buy one pizza today, get one free. That's tons of value. Plenty to take home for tomorrow. Order now and pick it up shortly or dine in. A reminder, the Friday all-you-can-eat fish fry is just $7.99. Whoa, that's great value. Walk in today for your free Thursday pizza. MineshaftRestaurant.com.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's 12 o'clock. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Thursday, February 6th. Your top story, icy conditions make for treacherous driving.
I'm Adam Roberts. Bird flu becoming a bigger deal in southeast Wisconsin.
Wind advisory in effect for Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, Washington, Ozaukee, and Dodge counties until 9 o'clock tonight. It'll be breezy. Wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour, high of 38. Breezy and clear tonight and a low of 13. 33 with some peaks of sun in Milwaukee at 12:01. From the WTMJ breaking newsroom, road conditions much improved following a slippery and dangerous evening.
The freezing rain wreaked havoc in many areas. In Racine County, a sheriff's deputy pulled a sergeant over the center wall to safety as a van spun out of control. The sheriff's office says that deputy was nearly crushed. Spinouts, jackknife semis were also issues. It closed I-94 in both directions in Racine County overnight. There were also 4 squad crashes. In Waukesha County, a Brookfield officer was hurt when hit by a driver who had lost control. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Law enforcement continuing their search for a missing and pregnant Dodge County teen today. 16-year-old Sophia Franklin, last seen Saturday in her Beaver Dam home. Now, she and the 40-year-old father of her unborn child, Gary Day, are believed to be headed to Arkansas. Beaver Dam Police Chief John Krusinger tells WISC-TV Day is doing his best to hamper their search efforts.
We do know that he's switching plates right now and putting different plates on the vehicle, which makes it a little bit more difficult for law enforcement, but we're still working through the logistics of that.
Day faces up to 25 years in prison if convicted on multiple child abduction charges.
A federal judge is set to consider whether to block a survey the Department of Justice sent to FBI agents. Acting Deputy Attorney General Emile Beauvais is clarifying the survey memo, which covers FBI agents' actions in the investigation of the January 6th riot at the Capitol. ABG's Dak Date.
Here's with this latest memo that Beauvais wants to make it clear that they're only collecting this information to see if there's any further personnel actions necessary. Now, we're seeing actions at the Justice Department, like many prosecutors who worked on those January 6th cases already fired, that indicate they're looking at these things pretty broadly, and it's really unclear how they're going to act towards these FBI agents, and that's what has them skittish.
There's also been no evidence any FBI agents or lawyers who investigated or prosecuted the cases did anything wrong.
Happening Happening this afternoon and evening, the public will have a chance to meet 3 finalists for Milwaukee Public Schools superintendent.
Finalists are Brenda Caselius, former superintendent for Boston Public Schools, Joshua Starr, former superintendent for Montgomery County Public Schools in Maryland, and Andre Townsell, current superintendent for Calvert County Public Schools in Maryland. They'll each speak at 2 forums today at MPS's central office on Vliet Street. An afternoon session runs from 1 to 3:45, and an evening session runs from 5:30 to 8:15. An education consulting firm will moderate questions from the community. The Board of School Directors will also seek community feedback through a QR code survey. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
And we'll have more on this with Greater Milwaukee Committee President Joel Brennan coming up in about 15 minutes.
A popular exhibit at the Milwaukee County Zoo closes for fears of bird flu. Zoo officials closing the Herb and Nada Mailer family aviary for the foreseeable future out of an abundance of caution. This comes after an increase in bird flu and suspicious deaths of several red-breasted mergansers on the Chicago shores of Lake Michigan. The Wisconsin Humane Society tells WTMJ one bird was submitted to the Department of Natural Resources for testing, and ducks and other birds suspected of having bird flu were euthanized to stop the disease from spreading.
Time now for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow still down triple-digit points on the day, off 107 at 44,768. The NASDAQ in the green, up 66 points this afternoon at 19,758, and the S&P 500 is up 16 points, sitting at 6,079. Financial planning at every level, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. More details at annexwealth.com.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 12:05.
Monica, we've got to hand it to you.
You and the design team have outdone yourselves.
Are you talking about the One collection?
Those rings say you are the one.
And they say it symbolically.
Describe the symbols.
Every ring in the One collection should be presented with a special ritual.
What would that ritual be?
You pick up her left hand and you place a kiss on her ring finger.
Rick, you never told me about that part.
Then you show her the tiny red diamond, flush mounted inside the ring, that will forever be in contact with her finger.
Why is it red?
Because that's when the giver says to the one, wherever you go, my heart goes with you.
I give you this kiss. I give you my heart.
The red diamond is a secret symbol of that sacred moment.
The center diamond on the outside of the ring is for the whole world to see.
But the tiny red created diamond inside the ring is only for the two of them.
The One collection of engagement rings is available exclusively at Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you,
visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Whether you are a local who wants to enjoy a night out or you're planning to visit our great city of Milwaukee, enjoy an artfully stylish experience at St. Kate the Arts Hotel. Hey, maybe you got friends coming in from out of town. St. Kate the Arts Hotel is ideally located in the heart of the theater district in downtown Milwaukee. With deluxe accommodations, culinary creativity, on-site art galleries, and nightly live music, you and your friends will enjoy every element of your stay at St. Kate. Learn more and book your stay at stkatearts.com. That's stkatearts.com.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The NFL's league year and free agent period begins the second week in March. Packers running back Josh Jacobs thinks the Packers are just a few key pieces away from being a true contender.
I think we need another DN. I think we need another DB, and then I think we need a wide receiver here. Like, I love the guys that we have in the receiving room. They all have potential to be one. Right. But we need a guy that's proven to be one.
Jacobs spending time in New Orleans this week for Super Bowl festivities. The NBA's trade window closes at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The Miami Heat are sending former Marquette standout Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors. The Bucks are sending Patrick Baldwin Jr. to the San Antonio Spurs for cash. Baldwin Jr. never really officially a member of the Bucks, though it was his name included in the trade that will send Chris Middleton to the Washington Wizards, along with Kyle Kuzma coming to Milwaukee.
Checking the roads now, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic. Nice, easy drive to start your Thursday afternoon. No incidents, no delays, lots of green on the map. It's a good, solid drive today.
Slippery conditions overnight and into the early morning hours. Everything's pretty clear right now. Maybe a little wetness on the road, but with temperatures above freezing, no worries about ice for the majority of those listening. Wind will be a thing today, a high of 39 degrees, wind gusts upwards of 40 miles an hour. Wind gusts will be significant. As such, a wind advisory is in effect for most of our listening area. Overnight low of 13, back into the mid-20s on Friday. 33 degrees, partly sunny in Milwaukee at 12:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek, and in for Jessica Ty, it's Adam Roberts.
Good to have you with us here. It's a Thursday edition of Wisconsin's Midday News. Jessica back on Monday. Adam in for Jessica the rest of this week. We're going to have to do Super Bowl prop bets tomorrow. You cool with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll try and get silly because you can get silly in the world of prop betting when it comes to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I have to imagine the tickets over at Potawatomi Casino, since they've opened up the sports book the last couple of years, around this time get very interesting.
I was there last night, as a matter of fact. 988 prop bets or Super Bowl related bets you can make at Potawatomi Sportsbook. 988. My goodness. Big stories that we're on top of here as we flip to the noon hour on a Thursday.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number one, the clock is ticking down for federal employees weighing whether to accept the Trump administration's so-called buyout offer to resign. Trump and Elon Musk's aim is to oust hundreds of thousands of workers in a move they believe will help streamline America's federal agencies. Widespread layoffs expected to begin soon after today's decision deadline of 10:59 p.m. Central Time. ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
At last check, at least 40,000 federal workers had signed up for the buyout, a small fraction of the more than 2 million who've been offered it. Many agency workers we've spoken with say they simply don't trust that the administration would live by the terms of the deal to keep those resigning on the payroll through the end of September, especially since at this point, the government is only funded through mid-March.
So the 40,000 figure represents about 2% of the roughly 2 million workers who received the offer. The White House has a goal in mind. Their target is for between 5 and 10% of employees to resign.
We continue to follow the ongoing story involving an Amber Alert for a missing Beaver Dam 16-year-old who is believed to be with the 40-year-old father of her unborn child. Sophia Franklin and Gary Day, both believed to be headed to Arkansas in a black 2014 Buick LaCrosse. Day has multiple charges filed against him, and a recently released criminal complaint against Day notes Franklin has been to Arkansas before to stay with him, and that they specifically waited until they arrived in Arkansas to become sexually active due to the age of consent in Arkansas being 16 compared to 18 in Wisconsin. You heard from Beaver Dam Police Chief John Krusinger in the top of the hour news saying the plates are getting switched out on that car. It was originally believed to be an Arizona plate. Now there's a Pennsylvania plate that's been cited on it. The sheriff down in Lonoke County, Arkansas, John Daly is his name, and he says that Day has a prior history of interacting with girls online.
He was on probation, felony probation for a domestic-related issue. I don't know what he pled out to, but he's on probation for it. But Gary Day is not a good dude. He targets young females, uses the internet. As you see, he's traveled to Wisconsin and back once.
So we continue to follow this story very closely. As new information comes in, we will make sure to let you know. And if you want the most up-to-date information, as well as photos of Franklin and Day and the car they are believed to be using, you can text AMBER, AMBER, to our Sighting Unlimited talk and text line. That's 855-616-1620.
And finally, a Wisconsin family is suing the WIAA for not allowing their daughter to play softball. Follow the story here. Macy Weigel began her career at Community Christian School of Baraboo. It's a private school with a yearly tuition of about $8,000 a year. Well, during her freshman year, Macy's youngest sibling was diagnosed with a deadly and rare blood condition, and this prompted Macy's mom to leave her full-time teaching position to care for the child, leaving Macy's dad as the sole provider of this family of 6. Well, Macy is now a student at Baraboo High School, right? She's gone from private school to public school because the cost of the public school and her mother stepping away from her full-time job to care for one of Macy's siblings, that's just too much. She's also a softball player. But the WIAA's transfer rules are preventing Macy from getting to play softball for 1 year due to the organization's transfer rules. Baraboo High School wants to allow Macy to play on the varsity high school team this spring. They sought a waiver for the WIAA rules. And to do this, you submit a waiver request to the WIAA, and they can accept it or reject it. Well, that waiver was denied by the WIAA. And a staff member concluded, it appears this student's situation has come about largely as a result of choices, decisions, and or actions made by Macy and her family. Once again, the WIAA is stepping in a big pile of rubbish and can't dig its way out. They continually take opportunities away from student athletes.
This is particularly frustrating to hear because I went through a similar situation when I was in high school, transferring from St. Mary Springs to Fond du Lac and then back again for a personal situation. And I remember filing that waiver, and mine was accepted to participate in golf, largely because of choices that my family and I had to make. So hearing this be the reason that the waiver was denied makes no sense to me.
What makes sense to me is that the WIAA routinely shows its high level of incompetence and inability to deviate from the book and apply any sort of logic to a situation. This is classic WIAA. They've been stepping in it and stepping over themselves for decades, only finding their way out after public ridicule and backlash. So I'll continue to backlash and ridicule the WIAA for being completely brain dead in this situation because it's exactly what they are. Apply logic to a situation instead of pointing at words on paper saying, oh, it's right there, can't do it. They did this with a track star last year from Campbellsport, Josh Onwunili,
right,
who ultimately was able to run at the state meet, but only because the WIAA just buckled under backlash from the community and the outpouring of articles that were written against them.
Lots of issues with this transfer policy, not just unique to this case.
No, the issues are with the WIAA. The issues are with the WIAA, foundation-level issues with that organization. It's 12:15. Joel Brennan, president of the Greater Milwaukee Committee, joins us after this.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is here for you, bringing you the latest headlines with John McCure.
A pause on federal aid. People are concerned if they use Meals on Wheels or if they are part of the WIC program.
And diving into the details with Julia Fellow.
There was just a news conference with Congresswoman Gwen Moore, and she was saying that Medicaid's down. Then it was back up. So what's going on?
Tune in to Wisconsin's afternoon news, where your day's story unfolds. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. Only here on WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzek for Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. Got some good news for you. If you are in the mood for a new vehicle or in the market for a new vehicle, got some good news. Terrific timing. The auto show sale happens once a year, is going on right now, which means money-saving offers. The greatest in automotive and all that's new. You'll get more for your trade, all while navigating today's car market with comfortable temperatures and with confidence. Choose from an impressive selection of the newest models available: Chevy, Buick, GMC, and more. You can also check out the incredible value and peace of mind benefits included with a GM certified pre-owned model. It's a simplified buying process at Holiday. I've been through it several times. I can attest to it. It's different at Holiday. And showtime is go time. So treat yourself to a test drive. Find yours. Drive it home today during the auto show sale. It's happening right now at Holiday Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC, Highway 41 and 23 in Fond du Lac. Visit them online at holidaygm.com. It's worth the trip.
Get ready to save on supplies for your furry and feathered friends at Fleet Farm's Paws and Claws event. Get a free $15 gift card for every $75 you spend on Purina pet products. And stock up on Pine Tree Farm suet cakes. Multiple flavors, 5 for $5. While you're at it, pick up 20 pounds of KT Basic Blend Bird Food, sale priced at $7.99. Stop in and get everything you need for all your pets. All at the best prices guaranteed at Fleet Farm.
12:15-ish on a Thursday. Time for our weekly check-in with Greater Milwaukee Committee President Joel Brennan joining us in studio. Hi, Joel.
How's it going?
Doing great. So kind of a big day here in the move forward in the search for an MPS superintendent. 3 finalists visiting the city of Milwaukee, all with an East Coast flavor. We'll get to that in a second. But you are going to be part of the group that gets to do the meet and greet, be a part of the group that gets to meet the candidates.
Yeah, I am. But actually, they have a public forum where anybody can go, parents, stakeholders, and I think there are other conversations that are going on as well. I've had conversation with the mayor in the last several days about some of the questions that he and people at the city want to ask. But this is I think, a pretty transparent, good way of doing it. Plenty of us have questions about this and want to know whether these candidates know exactly what they're getting themselves into at MPS and how we're going to move forward.
You said the questions will be asked, and they certainly will. When you have an opportunity to meet these candidates, what's that one question you want answered?
The biggest question I have is to demonstrate what in their background and what, as they look at MPS, makes them really an agent of change. I think none of us can say that embracing the status quo or kind of keeping the trains running on time is good enough. Not good enough for the district, not good enough for the kids, not good enough for the city. So really, I think that's where I'd like to find out more about these candidates, because I had a dinner earlier this week with about a dozen CEOs and leaders from Milwaukee. And when we had conversation about the pressing issues, the biggest ones were around education, around early childhood, around K-12, around higher ed. But I think there's a store of goodwill there and a willingness for the civic business community to kind of go back inside MPS and see how we can make demonstrable change. But nobody is satisfied with just kind of keeping the trains running on.
Well, and I think you've got a lot of outside influence here, and I think it's wise to look beyond those who are maybe in the community. And I think it's also telling that Eduardo Galvin chose not to apply for the job. Maybe he was told not to, that they wanted outside influence, or maybe he just thought, I ain't touching this thing. It's a big playbook that whoever comes in is going to have to develop. How do you prioritize improving outcomes, improving attendance, while also making sure the finances are in line, more transparency, and elevating these schools?
Yeah, and you laid out very succinctly there the whole host of issues that are on the table. I think immediately, and the thing that a new leader can come in most immediately and change is the tone, but also some of the things around the challenges that we've seen in the last year around reporting and really a challenge both in the amount of infrastructure that's there and the level of competence amongst some of the people who have been there. And so I think that's one of the things that can immediately be changed. And it's also one of the things that people outside the district, assuming that there is better transparency, assuming that there is a hand extended to the community about partnership and wanting to fix these things, there is some expertise out there to do that. Far less expertise in the community around what the curriculum should be inside the classroom. That should be left to experts. I'm not sure that there's a whole lot of people like in the business community. They may have opinions, but I'm not sure that they know exactly what to do there. But there are things around the fiscal management and how we do those that I think can be fixed and can be moved forward pretty quickly. But there needs to be an extension of, there needs to be a hand extended in partnership from MPS to the community in order to do that. And there has been somewhat of a lack of willingness, or at least a lack of transparency around these things that I think has made that more difficult in the last few years.
Not to keep lumping on MPS, Joel, but we got a pretty scathing report today from the City Health Department. In fact, right now at City Hall, they're holding a presser on this story regarding lead levels at several MPS schools. We previously reported that Golda Meir School was tested for lead levels in some of the dust in their basement. Now this report is getting wider and more schools are being added to this list.
Yeah, and I feel this personally and viscerally. I live in Brewers Hill. My kids were students at Maryland Avenue Montessori, and then they went to Golda Meir. Those are two of the four schools that are on that list. And in one sense, this can't be that surprising. The average age of a building inside MPS is 85 years old. I think the building that the kids in 3rd to 5th grade go to at Golda Meir is like 120 or 130 years old. So, we didn't stop using lead paint until the late 1970s. So this stuff exists, but it's just kind of another thing another log to throw onto the fire of ways that we absolutely need to make sure that when we're sending kids inside MPS schools, they're safe. Now, one thing that I think this probably adds some momentum to is that, managing 240 or 250 buildings, whatever they have, that's a challenge at any time. Now, when they have a student population that doesn't, we don't need 200 plus buildings for, like, it even gives more momentum to building closures and how do we make sure that we have the right size for the district and take the best care that we can of those facilities. Those conversations are ongoing. I've joined one of the groups that's going to be looking over that. The first meeting is next Wednesday. So, these are the kind of things that we need to make sure we do. But there's got to be some urgency around making sure that we're dealing with these things as well.
So many iconic companies here in southeastern Wisconsin companies on a national level, including Johnson Controls. They've got a new CEO. What do we know about this?
Well, he comes from Danaher, which is a national, international organization. Yeah, Johnson Controls employs 100,000 people still around the world, and several thousand here in Milwaukee. George Oliver has been the CEO for the last 7 or 8 years. Very involved, very deeply involved in the community. I haven't met the new CEO. He'll come in March and take over there. And I just hope that Johnson Controls is an iconic Milwaukee company and still deeply involved in everything from UPAF to the museums to the discussions we're just still having right now around public education in this community and making sure that we can have the kind of workforce that we need. And I just, they're a very different company than they were when George Oliver started and where they were 10 years ago. They've very much focused exclusively on the building systems, and that's going to be where they're going as a company. I hope that as a community we can make sure that we're embracing this new leader and ensuring that Johnson Controls stays actively involved here for years to come.
Well, it seems on their last Q1 business call, which they just had yesterday, they seem to indicate that there's solid growth. So at least nationally and internationally, they seem to be doing all right. Speaking of the big business in the Milwaukee area, it doesn't get much bigger than the Brewers. We've just unveiled our spring training broadcast schedule for the team today, and it was also in the news recently that seating capacity is going to be reduced in the ballpark to make room for office space. Now, the capacity will still be over 40,000, but seats are being shrunk down. What do you think's more likely, Joel? We continue this trend of reducing seating inside the ballpark, or we build a fan district outside because of the wanting for more amenities?
Is there an option C where you do both? Because I think that's probably where we're headed. This was one of a list of things that the Brewers announced this week. I think they're spending upwards of about $50 million of things in and around. This is for the business operations for the team, and they're going to, they're bursting at the seams, as Rick Schlesinger said about that. So, that at least on a temporary basis is going to thin out the numbers, and I think the stadium holds fewer than County Stadium did, and in lots of ways we've shrunk down some of these things to improve the fan experience. But at the same time, the Brewers are investing in food trucks on the Loge area along the left field line. They're doing some other things outside related to the fan experience. They're winterizing the structure so that they can do concerts and other things year round. So all of this, I think, is about improving the fan experience. And the good thing for us is these are the first steps because they've signed a lease that's going to keep them here till at least 2050. So they're going to make the investments that are, solid business decisions. But the good thing for us is we've got another 30 years of Brewers baseball based on what happened in the last year or two here. And that's on net going to be a great thing for the community.
Always great information. Joel Brennan, president of the Greater Milwaukee Committee, joins us every Thursday. Thank you, Joel.
You need me to go out and do one of those spring training games on site. I'm happy to do that for you.
We'll get you out there for a couple of weeks. We'll have your report back. Appreciate it, Joel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Mary Milwaukee and Capital Heating and Cooling. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
This change has leveled us up while being able to maintain the same quality of service that we've always provided, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. We're proud to be part of the Century 21 family, so you can move fearlessly with the added confidence of top-of-the-line marketing for maximum home exposure. And that means more eyeballs and the real potential for the highest price for your home. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. With the ability to market luxury homes on a higher scale than ever before, Century 21 Benefit Realty has taken a huge step forward to tap into a global network of buyers. Maximum exposure to spotlight your unique home with our fine homes and estates marketing so you can sell it for the highest price. And with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission, you win. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
And now about your house. It's where you live. But do you also live in your yard? My friends at Outdoor Living Unlimited help people extend their home living beyond the walls. Your imagination may be limited, so let's call on Eric Brown, president of Outdoor Living Unlimited, to expand upon it.
Some of the most exciting projects from Outdoor Living Unlimited involve adding dimension to the backyard. During the design phase, we bring all kinds of ideas to the project. We generally start with the focused effort in the 2D world, the two-dimensional world, with a deck or a paver patio. I call this our blank canvas. Decks and patios, when built right, are wonderful to enjoy when you want to relax and unwind. Designed correctly, these projects lend themselves to adding a third dimension to the backyard that often consists of a version of a pergola. I say version of a pergola because the term pergola has taken on so many meanings and styles recently. We can build a pergola that has cedar slats to break up the sun, which looks beautiful, gives the backyard a defined space, and definitely adds another dimension to the backyard. These are stylish with their natural beauty. If you're looking for more, pergolas have evolved all the way to powder coat aluminum framing with automated louvers in the roof that open for natural light or, with the press of a button, close to deflect rain or create shade. These newer contemporary pergolas also have automated screens that you can open and close with the push of a button. You control your space. If you want screens for privacy, wind deflection, or to deter bugs, you can have them down. Or press a button and the screens roll up and you have a clear view of your surroundings. There are so many other options when it comes to designing your space. Adding a third dimension brings excitement to any backyard.
See all of the cool things that Outdoor Living Unlimited can do for your yard on their Instagram page. Or see it inside Outdoor Living Unlimited's unique Outside In showroom in Waukesha. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
It's 12:30. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Thursday, February 6th. Your top story, lead found at MPS.
I'm Adam Roberts, sending in taxes for free.
Wind advisory in effect till 9 o'clock tonight. Breezy and a high of 38 degrees. Breezy tonight, mostly clear and a low of 13. Friday, up to 28 on partly cloudy skies.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A federal judge in Massachusetts has temporarily blocked the Trump administration's buyout offer for federal workers until Monday. Federal employees were facing a midnight deadline to take the buyout or risk being fired. One of California's largest utilities now saying its equipment is linked to the start of one of last month's wildfires.
In a new state filing, Southern California Edison admits its equipment likely sparked what was called the Hearst Fire, which burned about 800 acres in northern L.A. The filing saying SoCal Edison believes its equipment may have been linked to ignition of that fire, despite evidence showing the larger and deadly Eaton fire in Altadena started under SoCal Edison transmission lines. The company says there is no evidence its equipment was responsible for the Eaton fire, but it's still looking into whether an idle transmission line became energized and sparked the Eaton fire. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Pioneer manufacturing giant Honeywell announcing it's breaking up its conglomerate into 3 separate publicly traded companies. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:31.
Well, dangerous levels of lead contamination in multiple Milwaukee public schools buildings. Findings from the City Health Department indicate unsafe lead levels throughout Golda Meir School, as well as in the storage room and windowsills at Kegel Elementary. A strong potential presence of deteriorated lead paint was also reported at Maryland Avenue Montessori. Last month, MPS confirmed that a student at Golda Meir School had tested positive for lead poisoning, but said there was no further immediate health risk. The health department is working with MPS to improve its detection, monitoring, and control of lead hazards.
A man from Kenosha could face life in prison for a deadly stabbing earlier this week. Justin Tursek facing multiple felony charges, accused of killing Andrew Foncook and his dog. Deputy DA in Kenosha County, Andrew Burgoyne.
The defendant was apparently upset that Mr. Foncook had purchased what used to be his grandmother's home. He was there earlier that day and had accosted him. He had entered without consent. In the very early morning hours, he returned several hours later, driving on the lawn, knocking over the for sale sign.
Tursek's being held on $1.5 million bond.
Brookfield police officer recovering after they were struck by a driver while investigating a crash late Wednesday. The officer was investigating a crash just off I-94 on Moreland Road when they were hit. The driver initially fled and was later arrested. 2 passengers in the vehicle are cooperating with authorities.
A Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate is filing a complaint over an attack ad. Susan Crawford's campaign accusing campaign team of Waukesha County Judge Brad Schimmel of using artificial intelligence to doctor a photo of Crawford, which could be a violation of new state law that mandates the disclosure in AI-manipulated political ads. The original photo showing Crawford smiling, while in the ad it's been manipulated to show her scowling. Schimmel's team has said the photo was edited, but not by using AI.
Well, Wisconsinites can now submit their taxes for free, courtesy of the IRS. The state has been added to the IRS Direct Filing Program. Wisconsin Department of Revenue Secretary David Casey says the program makes the process more efficient.
Once that return is filed, the data is directly sent over to WisTax, as are you. So you will go into WisTax and you'll see all of the pre-populated data based on your federal filing. You select the credits that you want to claim and hit submit.
Once the returns are submitted, it only takes a day for taxpayers to get their refunds.
Sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:34.
In 1964, we were making strides towards space travel.
Mary Poppins was the #1 movie in theaters.
And the Beatles were taking America by storm.
Which was long before I was born.
Facts. 1964 is also the year it all started for Richland's Tire and Service Centers. 60 years of continuous growth and more happy customers than you can shake a stick at.
Okay, the streamers are a bit overkill. It's just us in the studio.
All right. But it's important to know accomplishments like these aren't possible without a dedicated team. So hats off to them and our founder, my dad, Dick Mitchke, for understanding the importance of customer focus.
Facts. There's no 60 years of anything without you, the customer, which is why our focus will remain on you and only you for years to come.
Thank you from all of us here at Richland's Tire and Service Centers.
Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Hey, if you're looking for a place to hang out, watch the game, really any game, it's Potawatomi Sportsbook. Greg Matzek here. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook. 2,000 square foot video wall. The place is unbelievable. You've never seen anything quite like this in the state of Wisconsin. The best place to watch sports is Potawatomi Sportsbook. Great food rolling out of the kitchen. Had a chicken Caesar wrap last night. Was delicious. They've got a full-service bar, VIP deck, and more. You got to check it out. And it's part of an all-newly redesigned and reimagined Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee. Go for it. This weekend, if you'd like, make your reservations and get on board at Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Come see Pal at the Neary Spring Home Improvement Show February 14th through the 16th. Learn about our incredible design team with an ability to customize windows to match your unique home. Pal Windows and Doors of Wisconsin is now offering windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Rest easy with our 10-year installation warranty. Book your in-home consultation at the show and receive a complimentary DesignWorks consultation and a Pallet Care inspection. Visit PalletWI.com. Certain restrictions apply.
Hi, this is Nate from Best Electric. We are a second-generation, family-owned and operated business in West Allis. Our motto is no job too big or too small, and we stand by our work. Whether you are looking to add recessed lighting, more outlets, or troubleshooting any electrical problems, I'm confident in Best Electric's ability to solve any electric issues. With over 50 years in business, our experienced technicians have the expertise to fix it right the first time. Connect with the best. Visit bestelect.com today.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The NFL's league year and free agent period begins the second week in March. Packers running back Josh Jacobs looking for some roster upgrades.
I think we need another DN. I think we need another DB, and then I think we need a wide receiver here. Like, I love the guys that we have in the receiving room. They all have the potential to be one. Right. But we need a guy that's proven to be one.
Jacobs spending time in New Orleans this week for Super Bowl festivities. The NBA's trade window closes at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The Miami Heat are sending former Marquette standout Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors. The Bucks are shipping Patrick Baldwin Jr., a piece in yesterday's deal involving Chris Middleton and Kyle Kuzma, to the San Antonio Spurs for cash.
Let's check the roads now. Your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Still looking excellent out there right now. This is about as good as you can hope for an early afternoon drive on a Thursday. Lots of green on the roads. That means full freeway speeds and no incidents either.
Wind advisory is in effect until 9 o'clock tonight. Decreasing clouds, wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour, high of 38, low of 13. Friday, partly to mostly cloudy, a high of 28. Snow likely on Saturday with a high of 31. It's 33 degrees, partly sunny in Milwaukee at 12:38.
Your all-you-need-to-know segment centered around the Milwaukee Bucks.
The long wait has ended. After a half-century, the Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions once again.
It's Bucks Insiders, every Thursday at 12:35. Sponsored by Best Electric and Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Bucks Insider, sponsored by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and Best Electric. He is probably the most famous person who follows me on Twitter or X. It's Evan Cohen joining us. He is a familiar voice when it comes to things, all things NBA, but he's in New Orleans right now. I feel like I'm disrupting your jambalaya.
No, you're good. For you? I mean, listen, I say for you, but I also had somebody else reach back out to you because I had my media tour today, Greg, which I don't normally do. I haven't ever done this in my life, which has been amazing. So I've been hooked up with ZipRecruiter, which is awesome. They do all the, the hiring, of course, and they have all the great information and the technology to hire people, both for the employer and the employee. So ZipRecruiter, ZipRecruiter.com. I've been doing the media tour. So you texted me, which we've texted many of times, mostly about lunch and kale salads and how healthy you are. And I'm not. And I had to have somebody else reach back out to you to make sure that I was good to go for this. That's what's happened here.
Well, you've got people now, which is very good and certainly deserving. Evan Cohen is the host of Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio mornings from 6 to 10 Eastern and does an incredible job alongside Chris Canty and Michelle Smallman. But I know yet at your heart, Evan, you are an NBA person covering a major event in New Orleans. I want to talk to you about the trade deadline. This window is going to close in about an hour and a half. I don't think the Bucks are done, but if we can look at the Chris Middleton, Kyle Kuzma trade, I'm not going to ask you to grade it, but do the Bucks get better with this trade?
So I think the Milwaukee Bucks have had a great history in the Giannis era, specifically, with John Horst there as the general manager, of making really smart, shrewd moves. And we've seen a bunch of them, right? PJ Tucker, just a simple one like that. I mean, I know that obviously, you win a championship with him. And even before that, just getting Chris Middleton in the first place. How many Bucks fans even know? And I'm not saying this in an insulting way. I'm saying no one knows. He was on the Pistons before the Bucks. No one even thinks about him on the Milwaukee or on the Pistons before the Bucks, right? And obviously swooping in last minute and getting Dame. So my answer, long-winded, Greg, is I feel so confident in the organization that if they think they're getting better, I'm going to trust them that they are getting better. The only thing I would say is as great, iconic as Giannis is, Hall of Famer, as great and iconic as Dame is, Hall of Famer. If Chris Middleton's healthy, I still want him taking the biggest shot in the biggest games over those two guys. That's not meant to be insulting. That's meant to be reality. But you're paying Giannis and Dame to do that. I don't know that Kyle Kuzma is going to necessarily do that for you.
Well, the Bucks must see something in Kuzma, the 2017 draft pick from Utah. For the more casual NBA fan who's not familiar with his game, Evan, what do we know about Kuz?
Yeah, Adam, it's a good question because he's not a household name. If you're like a loser like me, you know him. But to the average everyday person listening to WTMJ right now, you're like, who's this guy? So he is a guy that won a championship with Los Angeles Lakers. He is a guy that has played in big games. He's a guy that went to Utah, but in the post-Milwaukee native, right? And Rick, back in the day, obviously Rick Majerus, Marquette guy, in the post-Rick Majerus era of Utah basketball. He's someone that can play either forward position. And so he's going to complement Giannis, and he's also going to have the opportunity to play when Giannis is not playing. Or if they want to go really small and play Giannis at the center, they could play Kuzma at the power forward position. He can basically play with Brook. He could play with Giannis. He could play with Portis. And he can kind of play with all of them, maybe at the same time, even if you want to go really, really big, for whatever reason you would do that. So he's a versatile player. He certainly can rebound a little bit, can shoot a three. He's different than Chris Middleton. I guess the best way I would say this is Chris Middleton is more of old school NBA fan of a guard, and Kyle Kuzma, old school, more forward. Even though they're probably actually going to play the same exact position for the Bucks, it's just a different type. Kuzma's more of the power forward playing small forward, and Chris Middleton is more of the shooting guard playing small forward in today's day and age.
So there's about an hour and 20 minutes or so left until that window closes to make a trade. So the Bucs did a minor move today, sending Patrick Baldwin Jr., former standout at Hamilton High School in the state of Wisconsin, to the Spurs, which means they have an open roster spot, Evan. So I see that, and I see they've got a little money to spend now, and I think, what are they going to try and conjure up here? What makes sense now for the Bucs to fill that open spot?
Okay, I got to ask you a question in return. Are you willing to trade Pat Connaughton? And if you are willing to trade Pat Connaughton, because I say this because could they get multiple players, et cetera, right? Are you willing to make a trade like that, or are you just looking to get a guy? Let's use PJ Tucker. I just mentioned him, actually. It's more likely than not, he's on the Raptors now, that they're going to potentially buy him out. Like, maybe you bring him back. Now, he's not going to play much at 39 years old. I guess, Greg, you got to tell me, are you looking for the buyout market if you're the Bucs? Or are you looking to turn somebody like Pat Connaughton, who's obviously contributed to winning in a huge way, into something of significance, but you may have to pay off the incoming team by giving them a younger asset to do that?
Yeah, that's tricky because Pat's not as much a part of the rotation as he was when the Bucs were, competing for titles in those back-to-back years, ultimately losing one and winning one. But so I say yes. I think Pat Connaughton is expendable, and I would say more so than Bobby Portis. If you're going to say you got to keep one, you want to keep one.
Oh, no. Bobby Portis, I would not even consider it if I'm the Bucs. At this point, unless I was in the market for Jimmy Butler or for Kevin Durant, I am not even considering moving Bobby Portis. I think Bobby Portis is such a valuable player, and Connaughton has kind of fallen out of rotation during the course of the season at different times. So that's where I would go. I would agree with you. If I can get something of significance for Connaughton, that's where I would go.
Who else then, Evan, is on that short list for Bucs trade considerations in your mind?
Of guys that they could potentially give up, you mean?
That we would deal.
Yeah, so I think that, if we just go through this, I never can say his name right, so I apologize. Marchand Beauchamp, did I say that right?
You got it.
You did.
Okay, so he's obviously on that short list that I would say. I would have, if I'm them, I would have absolutely no interest in trading Andre Jackson Jr., who I think is just a Swiss Army knife of amazing opportunity and growth and what he could be. But if you pair Connaughton and others with this, and you include Andre Jackson Jr., guys, we're starting to talk about something, right? I'm not saying you're getting Michael Jordan for that, but I'm saying could you get a starting caliber player with a longer contract on another team? If I'm going to start to pair some of these guys, yeah, I think you can, right? But after that, you have to remember, it's yes, sure, it's about who the Bucs would give up, but it's about who another team would want. And I don't know that another team is going to want somebody that they have that they would be willing to give up.
NBA fans around the country hitting refresh for the next hour and 15 minutes here on their X feed, trying to see the latest news to pop. ESPN Radio's unsportsmanlike host, Evan Cohen. He has stepped away from his festivities at the Super Bowl to join us to talk a little bit of NBA. Evan, we appreciate it, man. Always great insight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep, you take care. 12:45 on WTMJ. NBA's trade deadline hits in about an hour, 15 minutes. More after this.
Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. Your family, your memories, our priority. Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. There's one near you.
Well, they did it again. Best in the USA. Greg Matzek here talking about Siding Unlimited. We just had their owner, Eric Brown, on with us in the 11 o'clock hour of the program. He was just in Dallas, where Siding Unlimited was awarded with their 5th National Pella Platinum Premier Certified Contractor of the Year award. I know, that's a mouthful. What it means is this: nobody does it better than Siding Unlimited when it comes to installation of the Pella products and all the other great products they have in-house at Siding Unlimited, things that'll help beautify and protect your home from the wicked winter weather, or wet weather when we get to spring, or blazing heat if it tops out at 100 degrees. It's Siding Unlimited. Top-notch products, top-notch installation teams right there in Brookfield. They've been doing it for over 30 years and doing it the right way. Done a number of projects for us over the years. Every one of them, fantastic. It's Siding Unlimited. Take some pictures and ideas out to their showroom and have them do for you what they've done for me and so many others here in the state of Wisconsin. A proud supporter of Badger Athletics, it's sidingunlimited.com.
Who doesn't need a seasonal wardrobe update? But who has the cash to always keep their wardrobe updated? Ladies, that's why you shop St. Vincent de Paul. Our women's clothing is always a highlight of our stores, and thrift store prices keep the costs low. It allows you to experiment and also find a hidden gem. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
This is Burton Cummings, the voice of a generation. Burton Cummings, 60th Anniversary Hits Tour. March 26th at Pabst Theater. With special guest, Jim Messina. Burton Cummings and his band. 60th Anniversary Hits Tour. Tickets on sale now at PabstTheaterGroup.com.
If you're living with joint pain in your shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees, and you have Medicare or Medicaid insurance, coming to Rejuvenex to solve your pain problems is something you should strongly consider. First off, because our FDA-approved pain treatments have been shown in many cases to be highly effective at reducing inflammation and substantially alleviating pain. Secondly, Medicare and Medicaid cover Rejuvenex treatments, so your cost could be nothing, or next to nothing at all. Chronic pain will only worsen with age. This leads to a far more compromised lifestyle, depression, and soon they start talking surgery. And then what? You have to get in front of arthritis and chronic pain, because the sooner you do, by letting us begin to calm those pain points, the better. I'm Rejuvenex founder Richard Salinas, and we can alleviate your pain so you can rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Wind advisory in effect until 9 o'clock tonight. Expect gusts up to 40 miles an hour. High today of 38 degrees, overnight low of 13. It's going to be cold and windy tonight, up to 28 on Friday. Next chance of snow appears to be Saturday with higher totals to the north and a high of 31. It's 33 degrees and partly sunny in Milwaukee, approaching 1250.
Wisconsin's Midday News, Adam Roberts, Greg Matzek with you on a Thursday. It is once again time to recognize an everyday hero, thanks to our own Eric Bilstad.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we define an everyday hero as an average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life. Today we head to Southern California, back to the LA wildfires. There's a man named Edgar McGregor. He's 24 years old. He lives in Altadena. He's a climatologist. He went to school for meteorology, and he runs a Facebook page that provides hyper-local forecasts. So he's got quite a following, residents who keep tabs on the weather thanks to him in their specific area. So before the wildfires began last month, McGregor was watching the winds and the wind conditions very closely. He was posting updates on his Facebook page with observations, wind gust information, etc. And it got to a point when he knew that the conditions were fueling the fire enough and were going to push them to his neighborhood. He had to act.
If you live between Eaton Wash and Allen Avenue, you need to be packing your car immediately. Don't wait.
I stood in the middle of my street at home, filmed myself with the mountains on fire behind me, and told people, this is serious. Get your social security cards, get the deed to your home, get out.
Because this is imminent. Do not wait for an official evacuation notice. If you think you should leave, get out. Get out.
And it worked. The neighborhood heeded his warning.
Well, he definitely saved my family's life. We all listened to him.
This woman chatting with CBS News.
Everybody in the beautiful Altadena group is alive because of Edgar right now.
She was overwhelmed with emotion when she got to meet McGregor for the first time afterward.
I'm so appreciative of you.
Thank you.
And you saved my family and you saved so many people.
Thank you, Edgar McGregor, for having the wherewithal to warn the neighborhood to save lives. You, sir, are an everyday hero. Everyday Hero, sponsored by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ.
Always great stuff from WTMJ's Eric Bilstad. We will wrap up the program with some final thoughts and some warm thoughts after this.
Don't count us out. Not
Lillard
yet.
scoops to the hoop, lays it in. The Bucks have taken a 1-point Lopez in transition, squeezes up a three, and he drilled it. The Bucks throwing fire.
This season is far from over.
To work with, drives inside and stuffs it down with the right hand. 59 points now for Giannis. He's tapping his chest as he goes the other way, saying, "This is my house.
We are the home of the Bucks.
This is my house."
WTMJ.
Well, if you're wondering what to do for dinner tonight, got an idea for you. It's going to be great. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be easy. That all sounds perfect, doesn't it? Make it a Palermo's night. Greg Matzek here reminding you that Palermo's makes a variety of frozen pizzas, and they're all great. To be honest, it's Urban Pie, Connie's, Surfer Boy, Scream, and Sicilian. There's even a breakfast pizza from Palermo's. I love it. Been doing it right here in Wisconsin, making the best tasting frozen pizzas for 60 years. That's right, 60 years. Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Hey, here's a buy one, get one for you. How about this? Buy one, get one Screamin' Sicilian. That's something to scream about for sure. If you stop by your local Pick and Save or Metro Market, you pick up a Screamin' Sicilian Original, Thin and Crispy, or even the Tavern Style, it's a buy one, get one free offer. And it's while supplies last, February 5th through the 18th. So it's on right now. The buy one, get one offer for Screamin' Sicilian at your local Pick and Save and Metro Market stores. Man, taste what all the screamin' is about. Get yourself one. And then another. It's the BOGO deal for Screamin' Sicilian at Pick and Save.
Are you ready to embark on a voyage like no other? At Fox World Travel, our specialty cruise desk creates unforgettable cruise experiences just for you. Explore the serene Mediterranean, the exotic Caribbean, or the breathtaking beauty of Alaska. We partner with top cruise lines including Celebrity, Holland America, Royal Caribbean, and Viking. Enjoy personalized itineraries, exclusive deals, and expert guidance. From booking to boarding, we manage all the details for a stress-free experience. Call 866-GO-FOX-GO, press 2, and mention code radio to start planning.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. You want to know the price of a new roof on your home today? Well, it's easy. Just go to TriCountyContracting.wi.com, click on the Instant Roof Quote button, put in your address and email, click the Show My Roof Price, and there you go. Zero wait time. There's your quote. You shop online for everything else. Who says you can't shop online for a new roof? Tri-County Contracting at WI.com. It's worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
We're wrapping up the Thursday edition of Wisconsin's Midday News. And a reminder, if you want to think some warm thoughts here, we've got the Brewers spring training broadcast schedule up on our website here at WTMJ.com. We'll make it easy for you. Just text the word Brewers to our talk and text line. We'll send it back to you. 855-616-1620. Text the word Brewers to 855-616-1620. 14 games on WTMJ during the Cactus League season, and then 4 exclusively on 94.5 ESPN. So 18 total games. Good stuff.
And that first one, February 22nd, some Brewers and Reds action from Maryvale, Arizona. You've been down to the Maryvale facility, haven't you, Greg?
I have. So about 10 years straight, I covered spring training and sort of bridged the gap between the old Maryvale Baseball Park and now American Family Fields of Phoenix, and they've done incredible work on that complex. One of the unique things about the Brewers complex for spring training is that it's owned by the Brewers. Like the Brewers are the only team there. A number of teams share spring training facilities to ensure that there's a game every day. There's not a game every day at American Family Fields of Phoenix, but the luxury that the Brewers have is they don't have to share with any other team.
Which, of course, as you mentioned, especially if you're in the Florida, the Grapefruit League. I have spent a lot of time down in Tampa, and you never really knew if the Yankees or the Rays were going to have a game that day, and then you have to share the signage, and just from branding perspective, it's just nice and easy for the Brewers to know everything around your facility can just be tailored to you.
Spring training is a way better deal in Arizona than it is Florida. Yeah. It's not even comparable. The big difference, everything is within about 45 minutes in Arizona. You might be driving 2 or 3 hours to go find a spring training facility in Florida.
Fair.
Yeah, no, do it in Arizona. You definitely want to do it in Arizona. We've got news coming up, followed by Spanning the State. We are back again tomorrow, Adam and me, with the Friday edition of Wisconsin's Midday News. We'll have some fun on a Friday looking ahead to the Sunday's game between the Chiefs and the Eagles. Enjoy the rest of your day on WTMJ.
Healthy joints, healthy lifestyle. Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Arthritis, injuries, wear and tear, common joint issues.